Hello and welcome to the Cameron and Tia Show. Today we are breaking down everything gear. We're answering your burning questions about how to build a gear collection and all of the things that we did. We even have our resident gear expert, my husband Cameron, to answer all of your Q&A. So let's jump right into it.
Hi, I'm Cameron.
And I'm Tia.
We're so excited that you're here.
Let's jump right into the video. Question number 1. What were our first pieces of gear and how did you prioritize and figure out what to purchase?
Okay, so it kind of depends on what you're doing when you began. So for us, it was actually sports photography, dance team especially. So the very, very first piece of gear that actually I got was a Canon Rebel XSI and like the kit lens and everything. Then the next purchase was 135 2.0L. That came about because of another dance team dad, a recommendation from him on what is a fast, beautiful prime lens that will last you forever. When we started doing weddings then, we changed up. So we went full frame at that point. We got a Mark III and a Mark IV. Yeah.
I love it. What's the equivalent of that camera body now? Does that still exist?
Yes, that's the T7i.
Okay, which is a really common beginner camera, so it totally makes sense. I love it. Okay, so we had the kit lens, we had the 135, which I know is a really unique route that people wouldn't normally go all the way to the 135, but obviously that was because of sports photography.
Yes.
But then how did we build out the rest of our lens kit?
Yes, so we kind of started at the point of what we loved the look of, especially for portraits, because that was like a lot of our work with seniors, with wedding portraits, with engagements, stuff like that. So I believe our next investment was the 85. We got the Sigma Art 85. At the same time, we already had a 50 that like came with the lens, but we upgraded to the Sigma Art 1.4. Did that for a while, and then the next purchase was the 35. Just kind of round out, get like every different type of feel for the different parts of the day, for bigger shots, for portraits, for all of that.
Yep. And then our last lens was the 100mm macro.
Yes.
Why?
We couldn't do macro well enough. Macros were important for our clients, getting those ring shots, getting those details. We couldn't do it well enough with our current lenses and like cropping and all that. Didn't have the feel we wanted, so we invested.
So that was our final lens in the kit. Okay, what news sources or resources do you use to find out what's up and coming or to compare gear?
Okay, so up and coming, big fan of Canon rumors. Obviously, it's in the name. It is just rumors about what Canon is developing specifically. We're obviously both Canon shooters. But I love to just like kind of like see where the market's going and like what is going to be next with that, both in terms of bodies and lenses. As far as like comparing like current tech, stuff like that, YouTube's a big one because you get to like see people like physically using the product. You get to see the results, stuff like that. That's awesome, just to like conceptualize what those are and see the results. Otherwise, I don't know, I still subscribe to a bunch of RSS feeds, generally tech related, but talks about that there. Otherwise, I just Google like crazy.
Love it. Okay, so then related, where do you buy gear from?
Okay, so kind of depends on the type of gear. And other little things like priorities about like warranty, stuff like that. So some of my favorite places, B&H, big one, Adorama, sometimes like a Best Buy, something like that. I don't know, but I'm also kind of like a deal guy. So like, who's ever cheapest. But for big purchases, for lens, for camera bodies, stuff like that, usually it's one of those three because they have the warranty and then some sort of cashback or tax off type thing.
Okay, so hot take. What are your thoughts on new versus used versus refurbished?
Okay. Quick take, all great. Kind of depends on where you are, what you're doing, what you need it for. especially like starting out, used is such an awesome way to like get started. Obviously, it's a little riskier. You sometimes don't know the shutter count of the bodies. Sometimes they're higher up and you don't know like how much longer they got in them. But huge discount to buy used, so that's awesome. If you're more established, you're upgrading to new, you're pre-ordering, obviously then you're buying new. You get warranty, a little more safety, but you're paying a huge premium for that safety. Refurbished, I'm actually a huge fan of for all tech-related things. Biggest difference being that like refurbished, someone is actually holding that product and inspecting it, making sure every single thing works, which doesn't necessarily happen with a new product. Sometimes those are straight off the assembly line, and sometimes they just don't work. Refurbished, you know 100% is going to work. You get an awesome discount, you just maybe don't get the same warranty. So it kind of depends on the product and what you're doing, but all three great.
Okay, so Cameron Goff, we have a photographer. They're 1 year in. They've been shooting portraits for about a year, dipping their toes in the water, and now they want to start shooting weddings. What should be their starter kit for their gear layout?
Okay, so first thing, obviously a body you know, you love, you trust. Super important. If you have the resources, a backup body I think is very important because you just never know when something might fail for some random reason. And to be
During
stuck,
a first kiss or something?
To be stuck on a wedding without a second body and a broken camera for whatever reason is
Deadly.
a nightmare.
Nothing you can do about that.
Yeah, so that's scary. Then the next thing would be lenses. So I think this kind of comes down to personal feel a bit. So we only shoot with prime lenses, no zoom. That's kind of a personal preference. We love how fast they are, how sharp they are, how like generally great all around there. Not quite as versatile, but produce stunning images. So for us, prime lenses, we want to make sure we're focused in a couple different areas to check off some major boxes. First is going to be a wider lens for bridal party, for families, for sometimes dance floor type things. So anything from like a 24 to a 35, maybe a 50, but that's kind of pushing it, I feel like.
Also important for big shots of the ceremony,
Yes.
both detail shots and like bride walking in that you want to be able to see all the guests there, as well as reception detail shots.
Yes, for sure.
So for us, that's the 35.
That's the 35. Then kind of depends on your preference for portraits. A lot of people like, some people love 35 for portraits, others love 50. We love an 85. A 50 is a great middle ground for that. If you just need one, because you can always like walk physically closer, crop in if you need to. 50 and 85 for those. If you're getting both for more variety, for whatever reason, love an 85. And then lastly, you'll usually want one with a bit longer reach, just in case you're at like shooting a Catholic mass and they don't let you go in the first 10 rows, or you're stuck, you know, way back for whatever reason, shooting through people. Yeah, just in case, a longer reach. So for us, that's a 135. A lot of people love, even if they're prime shooters, a 70-200 for that reason, because you get that 200 reach. So this all changes slightly if you prefer zoom. Obviously, it's a bit less an investment because you don't need potentially 4 different lenses to accomplish all that. In that case, either a 24-70 or like a 16-35 are great for that wider shot. Beginning of the day, reception,
Dance floor
type shots. And then something like a 70-200 can fill in all your portraits. Obviously, those usually aren't quite as versatile because you're stuck at like a 2.8 for the best versions of those lenses. But, I mean, 2 lenses and you've covered most of your day.
Another reason why you're going to want something a bit longer, like that 135, is for toasts. Toasts, you might be put in a situation similar to the ceremony where you can't get any closer and you might need to be behind a couple tables or something so that you're not obstructing every guest's view. So that might be another reason why you might want something like that. Love it. Anything else you need to shoot weddings?
That you need. Some sort of off-camera flash. Usually, I mean, that's often a speed light. Super important. Obviously, it kind of depends on where you are and what types of weddings you're shooting. If you're doing elopement, kind of adventure-y style, maybe not as important because you're using natural light for basically the whole thing. Or in like a warmer climate where receptions are outdoors. Maybe not as important, but I think it's still an awesome safety to have just in case you're in a place that doesn't have a lot of light. Obviously, we're here in Minnesota. A lot of receptions are inside, both because of the heat and humidity during the summer and the freezing cold in the winter.
Yep.
So after sunset, those reception shots,
we're going to always
we're
use our
always
speed
using our
lights.
speed lights.
Yep.
Yes. Then other little things are going to be like the macro lenses for specialty shots. Some people like a tilt shift for some creative shots.
Yep, but not needed in a starter
Not a
kit.
priority for a
These are
starter kit at all.
extras.
Yes.
And then the last thing would just be batteries, memory cards,
Yes, absolutely.
all the extras on top of extras,
Yes.
just like how Cam spoke about backups of bodies. We need backups of all those items times a million because why not just safeguard yourself?
Yeah.
I love it. That's awesome. Okay, a fun question from our viewers. What are we purchasing next?
So slight cheat, we've actually already purchased these. We're both getting the new Canon R5s. We pre-ordered. Hopefully they're coming soon.
Yes, like this week, next week.
Yes. So very excited about that. But so I guess after that, our next purchase. Kind of already talked about this, but the priority for both of us is 85s. Those portraits, beautiful look. We're thinking that's probably going to be our next investment. Both an upgrade to our current 85, but then also the ability for both of us to shoot an 85 at the same time. Both, like if we both have big bridal suites, or just getting ready portraits of the bride and groom, we can both have that option. So we're kind of looking right now at the RF 85. Obviously, super pricey, huge investment, but from everything we've seen, looks incredible.
And it would be so well used because we use that for
Yes.
everything. Seniors and even some family action. So it'd be something that would become well used all around.
For sure.
But yeah, so R5 is right on the horizon.
Yes.
Hopefully we'll have a little review for you guys here. If that's something you're interested, comment down below. That's all we have for you today. But spoiler alert, we have way more gear questions. So coming up so soon, we're gonna have a part 2 where we're gonna be interviewing Cam again with so many more questions because you guys have all the things. If you love this video, please like, subscribe, comment down below. Tell us if you want to see that R5 review. And then until next time, bye!